passes, but the passing really comes as you go into turn 3 and then turn 4. You just got to find your line because there's like a manhole cover or something.
See, I wish you would have seen Everett Day 2 because that reminds me a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was very much like
L.
It was in the shape of an L, and then it was manhole cover in the middle of a turn, and it would actually change surface. So that seems very similar.
This is opposite, so you're going downhill extremely fast on cobbles, and then you're going into pavement. So.
The manhole cover is always the right line.
Yeah.
Over it, unless it's raining. But usually you want to just nail it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nobody goes there.
It's person hole now, by the way.
What's that?
It's person hole. It's not a manhole.
Sorry. Are we still doing DI?
Oh, couldn't you tell by the smell of it?
That's why I'm
whether
here.
it's
What?
sex of it?
Yeah.
That's a manhole.
Stanky.
You know the difference between a girl and a boy?
Oh no! We're live, right?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
This is fine. If a girl asks you to smell something, it smells good.
Oh, yeah. That's fair.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That is a great point. Instead of the dude, smell this.
Yeah. Yeah, that smells like crap. Where'd you get it? Out of my pants.
That's my butt.
Oh, it's the edited version. I changed stuff on my soundboard, and now I got old themes, I got new themes. I found yours guys' segment themes, but I have time now. Hey everybody, let's go play bikes. Throwball is over whether you like it or not. Did you just watch it for the best commercial spot? Only thing I care about to stand up and say yay is that we're just 61 days away from Paris-Roubaix. Welcome to episode 466. 466. What are we going to do with 500?
Beer mile.
Beer mile again?
Yeah.
Naked.
Except this time we run it.
No. Naked beer mile.
Naked.
That's way worse.
The longest standing podcast on the sport of cycling. This is one and only Packfiller Cycling Podcast. Think of us as a post-ride beer with several friends and one asshole. I am potentially that asshole, and my name is Pat Bulger. With me, after a week away from the studio, are a few members of the Packfiller, so let's check in with tonight's Scratch Prologue. Of course, powered by Scratch Labs, the source for pure fueling at its finest. Tonight's question: if you could get on an airplane right now, where would you go and why? Airplane right now, where would you go and why? I think I know where some of you guys would pick. So first off, introductions. He's the raconteur of rollers, Mr. Paul Main. How are you, man?
All right.
I guess you're like a raconteur. I had to look it up earlier, and I already forgot the definition. But it's a compliment.
Oh, is it?
It is. How are you, man?
Good.
Where would you go if you could get on a plane right now?
Funny you should mention it. So I hit my friend Stu, who I saw several years ago down the road with him. He sent a picture of the group that on a ride that we did together, and it was sunny and warm out there, and I'm like, oh. And then we've had this cold snap, and so I literally been searching, and so it's just so expensive nowadays. It was like $2,100 for like 4 days down there. And I thought, screw it, I'm going to find another. So Scottsdale, I used to train in there back in the.
So down where? People, you didn't mention
Palm
where it
Desert.
was. Palm
Desert.
Yeah.
So then I looked at Scottsdale.
Okay.
Because I trained in there. It's like the average, price again was $2,100. I'm like, well, screw it. What's it cost to go to Hawaii?
Yeah. Both
on Oahu and I didn't even look at Maui. Oahu and Kona, about the average price is $2,100. Like,
can't win.
Crap. Yeah, I'd probably go and see Stu.
You'd go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Palm Desert. It's a little warmer in Hawaii, but
there we go. Mm-hmm. Next up, he's the Sultan of Style, Mr. Jackson Bulger. Notice I put you second because I didn't know if Dave was going to be here.
Oh yeah.
How are you, man?
Good.
Are those new frames?
I've had these for a while. I just don't wear them that often.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did buy a new pair of frames, but they're sunglasses, and they're prescription sunglasses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do any of you guys need prescription glasses for cycling?
Mm-mm.
I'm the only one who has to wear his contacts.
Oh, I wear contacts, too.
If I don't, I can't read my Wahoo. But Jackson, where would you go if you could get on a plane right now?
My brother and sister-in-law are both in Hawaii right now. So that looks really nice. But I did say, because they've been showing us pictures all week, and I've been like kind of jealous. And then last night I was laying in bed and I say, you know what? They've got to come back. We're hard. We know this entire time. We don't have to readjust. So it's going to be worse for them to come back.
Yeah. No, I'd love to readjust.
Yeah. I would
love to readjust. Next off, he's the Lord of Squirrel. I did not rhyme yours. It popped into my head to say squirrel.
That's me.
Mr. David Waples. How are you, man?
I feel like I can just say good and bad,
You said you had a brutal day.
I was just you should see my desk.
Really?
Just tell it all. Yeah, papers everywhere.
Oh, God.
I don't know why I have 3 phones.
You got burners just in case
burners.
the wife finds out or something like that.
But overall, things are going very good.
Yeah?
Yeah, things are good.
Where would you go if you could get on a plane?
So we're talking about it's right now, right?
Right now. Yeah, not
We're
in the
not-
classic season for Paul wanting to go to Belgium right now.
Right now. My heart always yearns this time of year to go back to San Luis Obispo.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, and it's just always it's such a happy place for me. I have nothing to do down there except ride my bike and eat Mexican food.
Yeah,
And
that doesn't sound
feels
bad.
very good. So
it doesn't sound bad at all. Oh my God, I'm the premier Pat man. Not the guy who throws the ball for Kansas City, because there was a commercial yesterday during the Super Bowl that it was Pat Man and his Mahomes, and I was a little upset about it because it was like, hey,
I'm the Pat Man.
Don't take my shit, dude. Don't step on my turf. And I would actually started to look around Spain, stuff like that. But Spain wasn't as warm as Hawaii is right now. It's like in the 80s all week on the Big Island. And I'm like, if my wife would let me bring a bike, I would. That's what I would do. That's where I would want to go.
Come with us in 2 weeks.
You dick.
It's an invite. It's supposed to be nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sam would share his bed with you.
Really?
But
Probably.
just think, they've got to come back.
They've got, But this is the time of year. For those of you who don't live in Spokane and are listening to this podcast, current temperature outside the studio is 9 degrees Fahrenheit. 9 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is warmer than it was this morning.
Yes.
I loved getting up in the morning, and it said 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And high today. Again, we're speaking in Fahrenheit, so sorry for you across the pond. 20 was the high today, and I think it's maybe going to be 24 tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah,
So-
it's going to be -1 tonight. So,
But I do have to
heaters
tell you
on.
guys, I will take it because the sun was out. It was clear blue skies and the sun was out. And for somebody who works in windowless basements, pretty much including this room, I need that so badly. I need that sun charge.
well, it's interesting you mention it because we have to regulate to a specific temperature to be able to take the kids outside.
Yeah.
And it was technically 15 degrees, but the feels because of that really nice sun was almost 30.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
wow.
So it's been, that sun has been very welcome.
Oh my God, yeah,
Mhm.
I needed it so badly, so badly. We took a week off due to my personal other life. 6 months of work every day, basically, is how I do it, and then I switched to 6 months off. Not off, just 6 months of in addition to my regular work day, and so I got to get my ass in shape. Gentlemen, how's your cycling life? Why does my mic sound so weird? But gentlemen, how's your cycling life? Who wants to brag?
I mean, mine's been good. I've been staying on the exact same training plan that I've been chatting about earlier. But last week was my light week, and so now I'm back on the kind of harder.
I was going to ask you this later on in the show, but since you mentioned it now, how close do you stay to those workouts? I mean, even if it's like one leg drills, stuff like that. Are you doing all that? Even when it's kind of a fluff, watch this documentary ride.
Yeah.
This is the Wahoo Criterium training program.
Yeah.
by the way.
So I do it because when we watch a documentary, something like that, I know that it's zone 2 stuff. So it's base, which is not stuff that I really have. I don't really have a lot of base. I got a lot of intensity, I'll tell you that. So I do that. Yesterday I did one leg drills, and that was really weird. I'd never done that before.
Yeah.
But Sam said it earlier. He said that his pedaling technique he feels like is probably better after doing that, and I kind of see what he means. I feel like I could see where there was zero pressure in my pedaling stroke, and so like I am kind of happy that I'm following through on certain things, which I didn't do before. I didn't focus on cadence, anything like that, and I'm kind of trying to do it all now.
Oh, wow.
So it's helping me, I think.
Did it hurt your butt?
Yeah.
The one-leggers?
Yeah.
They do. They do.
I
works muscle groups that you didn't think you had.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
it even hurt like on my saddle, like where I was sitting. I got off and I was like, God, am I developing saddle sores? Like, Jesus Christ. No, I'm not. But it was just
again.
like, God, this is like a lot of pressure just right on. But yeah, it was weird.
It's good. Guys, how's it been?
It's been pretty good for me. I'm going to
Hawaii in 2 weeks.
Hawaii in 2 weeks. No, but mostly, okay, I was talking about my stupid 30-minute rides earlier this year, and everybody was like, it didn't do anything for you. And you're right. It just maintains. But now I'm at the point in the year where I'm excited. I'm constantly increasing the intensity beyond what the ride recommends and the duration. And then I feel good because I'm like not just meeting my 30-minute requirement, but I'm actually going for a 45 or an hour-long ride, doing all the rides. I have to correct something that I've said previously about skiing. Yep, I've been waiting to tell you this, Pat, because I've always been a snowboarder and I've always said it's not a workout. Well, I've been skiing for the last 5 times we went. I skied. Holy shit. My quads.
About time.
Even on the flats. Compared to a snowboard, man, I was getting smoked. And it was excellent. I loved it. It felt so good to get a burn.
Just because you see the people, with their Boda bags full of schnapps going up the trail, going up the chairlift and stuff like that.
They're not working
when
hard.
I ski, I have to stop.
Yeah.
About every third of the way down the run because my heart's pounding.
Yeah. It's way harder than snowboarding.
About goddamn time.
So, giving you credit there, and then also just saying it's a new bike day for me.
Wait, what?
Yep, bought a new mountain bike, so very motivated for this upcoming
I
and
don't even know where
I'm unloading on you guys because it's been a while. I've got like 12 races I've registered for, not including our Twilight series and our mountain bike series. So I'm like freaking pumped for the season. I'm coming into like I was kind of depressed in January. I was like, fucking bikes. And now I'm just like, we got races. I got a new bike coming. I'm actually wanting to do the trainer rides. So, February's hard, but like March is right there.
Okay, stop for a second. Number one, what's the bike?
Oh, I got a Specialized Epic 8.
Okay.
Yeah, XC bike.
Very nice.
So it's full suspension, but I did the actual the Epic 8, not the Evo.
Okay.
So, yeah, it'll be good.
Brand new?
Yeah.
Very nice.
First time I've ever walked into a bike shop and said, I am going to buy this bike. Not like looking for, some sort of deal or anything. I figured it's time to buy a bike from a local bike shop.
Wheel Sport,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So
supporting the locals.
Well,
Look good for you.
Yeah. So I felt good about it.
Wow.
Very excited. It'll be here in like a week.
Holy shit.
But mostly just having all these races to look forward to. We have a good Northwest calendar this year if you'll cross over between road and gravel.
Uh-oh.
But even just the road. There's like this proper Roubaix Sam messaged us about with a little bit of gravel. It's
a race. I did it like they had it back in 2012, I think, 13, 14. I did it 13, 14, and maybe 15.
That's the Oregon race.
Yep.
Okay.
And the Dalles. Yeah.
We're all doing Tour de Bloom. Cheers to that. And we got lots of races coming up. So I think even though it's hard time of year, we're like almost there. Like March we're almost there.
Yeah.
So.
Paul, how's your cycling life?
I wish it was a little better, but I got just hate the trainer without a doubt. Yeah. I did Ruvy's couple of training. There's some good programs on there for training.
There are.
And I, just was looking for easy, then, started doing some block stuff. And it's all erg, so that's probably some of the lack of interest. And I did a hour 10 workout, and I thought, I'm not satisfied. So I pulled the rollers 2 weeks ago from your place, and I slammed them down on the ground and was on the rollers for another 45. And that felt good. That felt really good. It's just completely different. Yeah. But you can't deny the workout that you get on now the new platforms and stuff. But, so and then I got another one in today, and but Jack called, and he's looking to get Yeah, he's been trying to ride. It's been cold weather.
Yeah, he's doing the 24 solo.
Yeah.
He's a lunatic. Hi, Jack.
But he was asking what platform, and I just told him, any of them are fine. So,
to train on.
Yeah, to train on.
Yeah.
You're going to get the same effect.
It's pretty close. I mean, each have. I think we've discussed this ad nauseum on the show, but each of them have their own pros, and then each of them are missing a couple things, and then you just become like me and you subscribe to 3.
It's whatever. Yeah, it's whatever gets you engaged.
I can't fucking buy eggs now, but
Yeah, no, you've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if whales flying over you while you're riding your bike in a tunnel underwater is what gets you engaged, great, good for you. Go with Zwift, man. That's what you need.
Yeah.
This segment's sponsored by.
If you just like blocks, like
Yeah, you go through a volcano. And that type of stuff.
That's fun. Yeah.
Isn't there dinosaurs somewhere?
There are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or bear falls out of a tree every so often if you're lucky.
Oh, scary.
I will touch a little bit though. Today's workout, I thought I'm not going to do a workout. I started going through it. I'm just going to do, because there was a certain rider that everybody's like shitting themselves because he was riding. They have him filmed on the Ehrenberg Forest.
I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So the rumors, it really went nuts, didn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought, well, I'm going to do on Arrivee. They have, a Paris-Roubaix section, and it kicked my ass. I mean, it's virtually flat, but you ride completely different if there's not blocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you just
that's
why I'm going to go back. I'm not going to do any more training.
I do a lot of that stuff on Arrivee, where I'll
God.
just find a route and I'll just ride it.
And it's way different because you can kind of anticipate the climb and get over the hump and you punch over. It's more like riding as opposed to these.
Very specific. 4 minutes at, 2 minutes at,
because
30 seconds at.
That doesn't happen very often on the road. So,
and I like that about Arrivee because it's got those routes that are just intense, and those are fun. No, I agree with you on that. Especially the Strada Bianca one. Holy shit, the Strada Bianca one! It'll kick you in the teeth. It's brutal. I had a busy week. For those new to the show, I also am a high school theater teacher, and so I was. It was my performance week. So the only rides I really got in were Saturday and Sunday, and if you count yesterday, I did get yesterday in, even though it wasn't this week. And those were good. It was good to get back on it. Yesterday, I actually got on the rowing machine again, and I'm now up to 10,000 meters. Cool. Yeah, I'm doing 10Ks on the erg, and my back really feels good.
How's the shoulder?
It's I can tell the shots have worn off. So like in the middle of the night I'll be sleeping and I'll be, oh shit, that hurts, and I'll have to tuck it back in or something like that. I'm probably gonna have to do that lavage. It sounds like a perfume.
It's very lavage, massage.
Welcome. We are going to give you but I think the recovery, correct me if I'm wrong, the recovery for that process is probably like 2 weeks each shoulder.
I don't know it'd be that long, but you probably wouldn't want to do anything like you wouldn't want to do your 10Ks or whatever you're doing for a week.
Or ride my bike for a week.
Well, you just you engage your core.
Yeah.
Bro.
So, no, what I'd probably do is I'll probably wait till late summer and just get it done then. Get them my shoulders fixed. And I have been following Jackson's lead, and I, upon finding out that I had never canceled my subscription, am doing the Wahoo Crit plan.
Are you doing like the low volume?
Lower medium. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Why?
I'm doing the low volume.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like 4 to 6 hours a week.
I thought you were trying to shame him.
Oh no,
are you doing the
low volume? You're probably doing the low volume, aren't you, Dad?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing the low volume because it's nicer for time.
It is. It is. But I just added weights to it. But I'm not really doing their weights. I just want it on the plan, on the schedule. So on the day it says weights, I'll get on the rowing machine or I'll do my own weights or something like that. That's because I know the strengthened areas I need to work on, and so I'll do that kind of stuff on those days to fill in those gaps. And no, it's pretty good. So I'm liking it, and so we'll see how it goes. I gotta, because I am going to be doing some longer gravel races. I know I need to start putting in some hours though.
Yeah.
Bozeman is going to be 100 miles.
My 30-minute efforts are not going to help.
No.
Nope.
No.
I know.
Yeah, we got to have some diesel fuel in the tanks. So I think that's going to have to be something I'm going to, and that's what spring is, though. That's what March and April rides are. You just start adding a half an hour to 45 minutes each weekend. And
that's
you're
why
good.
you do that first race in the first week of March that I did last year. Remember that gravel race that almost killed me? I thought I was going to die. Because I went from 30-minute rides to it was the Haven of the South gravel ride. It was 100 miles.
Yeah.
Off the couch. Yeah, that killed, but felt good after that.
I thought you were talking about Ephrata.
No, Ephrata was later in the year.
Yeah.
It was before that.
I don't know if I can do Ephrata.
Oh, no.
My wife's going to a basketball, to the NCAAs. And
Maybe that's...
I have 2 dogs.
Well, you know some people that might be able to take care of those dogs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've already said that. Yeah.
You said it when?
Christmas.
Was I listening?
Probably not.
I know some...
Apparently not.
I know
Yeah.
some tranquilizers that last about 48 hours. That might be enough.
Yeah, that's right.
I
They drowned in their own drool. I don't
Drool
understand.
and feces.
They'll be on your record.
Yeah, God, the carpet stinks.
You're so right, though. Sorry about spring, like early spring. That is very true. I feel like when we did our last spring, especially the back-to-back days, that was when I feel like I really got that high
launch.
volume. Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited for that stuff.
Am I the only one, though, that I probably am, that worries about things? But what is the amount of time you would allot from winter training to proper spring readiness? I'm not saying race fitness. I'm not saying peak fitness. I'm saying, okay, I'm ready to start mixing it up. I mean, is it a 4-week? Is it a 6-week? Is it a...
March.
It's just...
March.
I was going to say, like, we
It's
start... Honest...
5 weeks of March is what you used to do.
That's when
Yeah.
I'm going. I'm not doing. I'll do some longer rides, but March is. I'm starting to put the hammer down.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't play around.
I mean, I feel like end of February, honestly, is when we all kind of start getting together and going
Yeah.
for outdoor rides. I'm expecting...
Shit.
Honestly... for my calendar, I'm expecting within the next 2 weeks that we will probably meet for a ride at one point.
48 degrees in a week here.
So,
Really?
like, that's
It's doable.
It's
it's
9.2 degrees right now, and
Yeah.
you're saying it's going to be 48.
That's
in a
what
week.
they're predicting. 48.
God,
I think
yeah.
by next Wednesday.
That will last year I had a picture of me going for a ride with you two last year at it was last week of February.
Okay.
So
Yeah, 3 years ago, I just pulled up on my Facebook. Remember, I did that video, Packfillers
Yeah.
come out and play.
Yeah.
On Instagram, and that was 3 years ago when it was on this date,
Mm.
on the 11th. And it
Holy
was
shit.
it
Wow.
was nice.
That's
yeah, it was
crazy.
like 45, 42
I can
degrees.
Yeah.
I can make it now.
Mhm.
I think.
yeah,
I now hate all the people that just live south and they just ride all year.
You know what
they
though?
don't
I
know
always
it.
want to know is why those people aren't so much faster than us.
It's true, right? Like, why aren't they? Because they could train all year.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, when I lived in California, I trained all year. And I would come back and Sam would be like, oh my God, you've been riding since December and not stopped. And I wasn't any faster. Like, because the miles changed. Like, I wasn't doing intensity over the winter. I was just spending more time outside because it was warm.
Yeah.
But they were, so I don't know. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but they should be faster.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
David, you mentioned, was it on air that you mentioned you've signed up to a boatload of races?
Yeah.
Why we haven't had the chance to sit down and really all chat about what events we're doing and stuff like that, but how deep does this season go for you so far?
I think the last one is Belgian waffle so far, and Walla
That's
Walla
June,
Grit.
right?
Yeah,
End of
there's
June.
not a lot
End
going
of
on
June.
in July, which I'm fine with. Like I've got basically every other weekend starting with Ephrata, and then a couple of 3 in a rows, like 3 race weekends in a row, and then Belgian waffle ends it in June, and then we'll do the Walla Grit in September or something, but that's just like a for fun gravel race. So that's kind of there's not a lot going on in
What's
July.
our Twilight series? How late does it go?
June.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
why the gap in July?
Yeah, why
Is it
don't we
just
race in
because
July?
I'm not buying the shit that Johnny has a soccer game? Because not everybody has Johnny playing a soccer tournament.
I mean,
I
look at
mean,
it.
what happens that races just die? I'd love to know this from other people in other regions and perspectives, just to see if we're the only ones who are running with this just drop off.
Well, it's also interesting because why do we start in March?
Yeah.
And then end in, we only have 3 months of racing, and we're racing half that time during really crappy weather.
Yeah.
And leaving out the good weather. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could think is fire season. Maybe they're trying to avoid it as much as they can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
Back in our day,
Yeah.
we had Banana Belt down in Oregon.
Before the
In
fire
March.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in March. That was about it.
Before what?
Before fire season existed.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The globe was a lot cooler then.
Back when Converse were still in.
They're
back.
we only use fire to cook our food.
That's right. For grub. That's
Yeah.
what we used it for. But then the very first race was Volunteer Park for this area.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first weekend of
But that's in
of
Seattle,
April.
right?
Yeah.
That was April.
Well,
So
I always thought Squim was...
It wasn't around when we were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge. Everybody ran to Banana Belt. And Piece of Cake was the other one that.
Every
David
Performance
Ocker
Omnium is happening. It's just they haven't secured their dates yet.
Mhm.
So I know it is going to happen. So
Oh, and Sam and I are tossing around the St. Louis Gateway Cup, that's in what's the Labor Day or Memorial Day? Which one's later in the year?
Labor.
Labor.
Yeah, it's that weekend. So that would be our latest one.
What is that?
Gateway Cup. It's like a phenomenal crit series
Where?
in St. Louis. I did
St.
it.
Louis?
It was like the second time I met my wife's parents was we went to do that because she's from St. Louis and they all
Wow.
came out and watched me. Yeah, it was a great time. So it's
St.
like
Louis, Missouri?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah, St. Louis, Missouri. It is
Missouri?
phenomenal.
No, Missouri.
crit
If
series,
you're from
yeah.
there, it's Missouri.
Who has re-upped their USAC license? Paul has.
Yeah.
I have to.
Nobody else has.
I have so many things to pay for this month with
Yeah.
cycling.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Races and everything like that.
Yeah.
Paul, how much did it cost? Do you recall?
$100, I think.
That's it?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In your opinion, everybody, fair price?
No,
Why
why
not?
is a WSBA license $35 or whatever?
Okay, I haven't got WSBA. I'm just USAC.
Well, but what I'm saying though is in comparison, why is it $100? What do I get?
That's what I'm
That's the
asking.
thing.
What are we
Yeah.
getting? What are we getting from WSBA?
Both nothing. Maybe some fabric
I
letters
can't-
or numbers.
Yeah, I don't know. And like Tour de Bloom?
Yeah. Drink. Yeah.
Do we have to have WSBA numbers
Nope.
for that? Oh, thank
Nope.
God.
They have their own. And I think.
For those of you outside of our state, WSBA is the West Side Bicycling Association.
Washington State.
It.
Originally was Washington. Now it's the West Side, I guess.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yes, you
As
are.
up until about a month ago, I was on the
Mr.
board.
Ted will probably, if he listens.
Yeah, Ted
know.
doesn't listen.
Sorry to kind of hijack it here, but why are they involved in racing? Because
WSBA?
what? No, I'm thinking on our side of the state.
Okay.
I know. I'm being
No.
honest. On our side of the state.
No,
From
I'm-
a racer's perspective,
Yeah.
I am not involved in the WSBA at all. But for the Twilight Series, which we used to have our numbers for,
Yeah.
why do we not? We don't need them anymore.
No.
For our biggest race of the region in, I would say, eastern side of the state,
Yeah.
we don't need them.
No.
And then for also our local one, we don't need them.
Nope.
So why? I mean, I know that they do a lot of other
Probably
stuff.
won't need them for EPO.
We don't need
You
them.
can always,
Ever before.
if you don't have a W,
rent a number.
Yeah, you rent a number.
For like $5.
Yeah.
So you need 7 events
So-
where you.
So I will answer and give a defense for the
And
WSBA.
This isn't me trying to beg on them. I really am curious.
Just to answer that a little bit. What the focus of it is to promote racing in the Northwest.
For sure.
In their region. What they do have access to is they have trailers with signs, with cones, with all that kind of, with radios, with vests, with all that kind of stuff that a lot of promoters don't have access to. I did find, and I feel comfortable saying this, and this is one of the reasons why I chose to step away from the board, is even though it was unintentional, the emphasis was on the west side of the state,
Sure.
which is where the majority of cycling is on this side of the. And as the Eastern District representative, I found myself going, why am I bothering? I did find a moment, and it was, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I found that a local race was asking for access to something, and it got denied. And then something very similar was asked for on a west side, and it was approved. And that was the kind of the moment I went, why are we a part of this region when we are so geographically separated. We should have a Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho and maybe even partial Montana district instead of where we are now, because I think the Seattle area and areas like that would be more apt to pair in with Oregon and Portland and things like that. I think it would be just. I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible in answering this, because I will say that there was some. I got pretty frustrated, and I was just like, this is a waste of my time.
And Oregon doesn't need any help.
No,
their OBRA
is kicking ass,
and that's what WSBA was trying to take their model from.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, thank you for answering my question. I really was curious.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what my USAC money goes to.
Insurance.
I mean, I wouldn't mind paying $100 to have a license to be able to do a bunch of races. Like, I understand having the officials and all this, and you're paying for all that, but having multiple organizations, who's paying for what, it's just too much. I mean, $100 a year to me, it doesn't seem unfair.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're getting, but I mean, some of the races we're doing are USAC sanctioned, and I'm sure they have to keep the lights on. So I don't know how they get their
and
money,
as a race promoter, I will say that they USAC does offer insurance plans. My co-race director and I don't register our event through USAC. We do it privately.
Yeah,
and we have our own insurance, and it's cheaper.
Yeah. So I mean,
and we talk directly to the insurance company. There's no middle person to go through. So I don't know. It's I want it to succeed, because we need a governing body, obviously. But I just don't see how it affects and helps the regular person. So this kind of brings me to a kind of a topic to speak of. We can all probably agree that cycling, primarily road cycling, is at a critical moment right now. And trying to figure out what governing bodies are doing and things like that. But this brings me to an article I read this morning. It kind of shifts gear towards the industry itself. It was in Bicycling Magazine, so take that as you will, referring to the state of the industry. And I know that bike sales are down and that the market is pretty much flooded with offerings. The article spoke about the amount of bikes that are available to consumers and specifically talked about gravel bikes, but I think it can easily apply to bikes in general. So it's kind of perfect, David, that you kind of came here with New Bike Day guy. It specifically kind of started to talk about the offerings that companies are putting out there. Specialized had mentioned directly when it talked about their gravel offerings. Specialized has this is the categories of their gravel bikes: the base, the sport, the elite, the comp, the expert, the pro, and then the S-Works. And I'm sure within each of those categories are 2 to 3 bikes. Holy shit. We are flooding the market with options, and are we at the point where there are so many brands and so many models? How do we even try to navigate the forest to decide, let alone how do all of these bike companies maintain sustainability? There are only so many people wanting to buy bikes, and there are so many companies, so many models, so many brands that get thrown out there. So think about your next bike. How would you even start to shop? And on top of that, how many high-end bike brands are there? So according to my remedial research, I found that there are over 2,925 different bike manufacturers in the world.
Wow.
And that number might be bigger. That was just remedial research. So if I was going to ask you guys, well, David, how did you go about finding a bike? Was it simply I'm walking into a store and buying the best model they have? Because I doubt that was it.
No, yeah. I walked into the store because I knew I was looking at that bike.
Yeah.
It's hard, but like I know, for example, probably something in my Instagram algorithm or whoever I interact with, like I've had my eye on the Epic 8 since it came out. Who knows why that is? It's supposed to be a good bike. Maybe it was marketed well to me.
Yeah.
I've heard good things from other people about it. It really fits the bill for everything I'm looking at. And so in my head, I was like, I don't need to make it that complicated. Like, you look at the best riders in the world right now, they're all on different bikes. They're all the best riders in the world. So for whatever reason, the Epic stood out to me. And then I had this very problem. I was like, which one do I get? The comp, the expert, the pro. I'm not going to get the S-Works, unfortunately. I'm just not there in life.
Well, yeah. We had talked about Dura-Ace and Red and stuff like that. It's like I crashed once.
That's a big hit. Yeah. When you ruin some Dura-Ace or some Red. So, but it was really complicated, and I actually spent way too much time figuring out, like, I knew the bike I wanted, but what do I get? Like, what group set do I want? What wheels do you want? And the problem with all these different tiers is that your average person probably doesn't know the difference. They don't know, like, what they're looking for in a bike, maybe even. Like, I had a really good idea going into it. I want, I'm coming from a hardtail XC bike. I want to maintain weight, and I care about suspension more so than like what the drivetrain looks like, because ultimately, GX shifts decent, like mostly the same as XO or whatever. But I had to look at every single tier and compare, like, well, what are you getting for that next jump? Like, you're going to pay $2,000 extra, but what do you get for your $2,000? And I almost wonder if these very small incremental changes that they have in all these different levels helps people talk themselves into the one next level up.
Yeah.
Because I found myself going, well, I've already committed to this. Is this worth? Like, I've already committed to X amount. Like, I've already committed to spending $5,000. Is it worth $2,000 to do? You no longer think about the $5,000. Now you start thinking about the difference between the two tiers.
Yeah.
And that's not, I mean, for the consumer, I think that's a good way to get you to buy a better bike than you need.
It's a fucking pyramid scheme.
Yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a really hard time, and I talked myself into going down and getting the expert, because it was still expensive, but I was like, I kept talking myself up. Well, for this much more, you can get this, and for this much more, you can get this. And I think that's the point. Because,
Paul, I remember for us, back in the day, it was always a steel frame, probably Campy Super Record, or thereabout, or Dura-Ace. I didn't write Dura-Ace back then. It was always Campy.
Dura-Ace?
Yeah.
No.
Sorry.
Whoa. You guys had that kind of stuff, Super Record and Dura-Ace?
Yeah,
when you were,
those were the options.
Like, nobody has that now.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Campy Super Record was the minimum.
The thing is you picked your frame out. So you would go, okay, this is for road bikes.
Yeah.
So what you would do is you would shop and you know what frame you want. I mean, there was tons of custom builders and stuff like that. And then you chose your own wheels, you chose your own group, you chose your own bars, you chose your own saddle. It was all custom, 100%. Seat post, all that was, and that was it. When carbon fiber frames came around, then they started, in order to push them, I think we started seeing manufacturers going like, custom builders. These steel builders have been around, DeRosa, Klanago and all those. When you have Specialized and Trek and all these guys cranking them out, they can give you a better price with a road bike with, Dura-Ace, as opposed to when you start selecting what you want. And then the other thing was Shimano made things not compatible.
Yeah.
So first of all, I could go. Some people could like.
You get a wheel change and you're screaming out a brand name, because if they brought you a Shimano rear wheel, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It wouldn't ship.
Before Index, I mean, everything. Like, you had 6, 7, and then 8-speed came out, and Shimano made sure that, I mean, people had their even pick of what chain they wanted to use. They were like, I like this chain with this.
Yeah.
I use a Winter Pro freewheel, and I had Campy, record, of course, stuff. And that's it changed. The market changed quite a bit. It's kind of funny because it's semi-touching my segment. But, I think what happens is, like you were talking about, is that you start looking at, oh, my God, what 2000. Well, now the bike's like 1.5 pounds lighter. They got a better set of wheels. It's spec'd out like few things here or there, and then you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
If I go to replace those wheels, I'm almost there anyway, so I might as well just buy the package.
We're all on stock offerings, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, all of us are, right?
Nope, not me.
Like, Yeah, and yours isn't. You pieced yours together.
Yeah.
I pieced together
Paul
my
did.
time too.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean it's mostly like what you could pick, but
Mine is what came from the factory.
Oh, I get what you mean. I mean, mine was, and then I broke everything on it.
So what do you guys do if you're about to go out looking for a bike? Road, gravel, mountain, whatever it might be. How do you go about looking for it, and what do you look for? What are your priorities when you're looking for this?
Splash some cold water on my face and say no.
that's great. Yeah.
Bad, Jackson. Bad.
I just don't.
If you were, let's say if you were
I
looking for a bike.
If I were to go look for a bike, what would I look for specifically?
Yeah.
You know, I think, and this is what I think is so interesting about the market, and just like the bike, I guess, industry altogether, is that you only really know what you're looking for if you've been in it for a few years.
Sure.
And so, like what I'm going to look for next is probably a gravel bike, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to probably look for more of a racy gravel bike. So when I go into a shop, I'm thinking of what am I going to do with said tool.
Yeah.
Not like what's on it and everything. I can piece that together eventually as time goes on, but I'm just mainly thinking about like what's my activity and what am I planning to achieve with this.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, what do you look for when you're looking for a bike?
We're just going right down my segment, but that's
well,
fine.
I don't want to steal your segment.
No, that's right. No, it's
well,
this
I
is
got
the
other
topic,
questions.
but I can add on to
Okay.
it. But for me, because I was in the industry for so long, I know what works for me,
Yeah.
and so and I've mentioned before on one of my segments that I know where my reach should be, top tube length, angles, the position where as goofy as Sam says it is,
Yeah.
it's where I'm at. And if I can't put myself like looking at the new BMC Team Machine R, the wheelbase is a little bit longer, and that's where I started thinking, well, wait a minute, what kind of, mine's all based on racing. I'm not doing Grand Fondos and stuff.
Yeah.
I want, and I still, even at my age, a tighter wheelbase, quicker handling. That longer wheelbase makes it feel more like a truck or a bus. It's great for stability on loose gravel or even long rides and stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I have that knowledge, but when somebody comes into it, I can't tell you how many times people would like, hey, I got a friend that wants to buy a bike. Can you help him buy a bike?
No, exactly.
Yeah. And that happens all the time. But if you're not selling the bike, like working at a bike shop,
Yeah.
you tell them things they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And that is, I know you're looking at that $5,000 mountain bike, but you're just going out like 2 times a month.
Yeah.
You really don't. I
Don't
gotta
spend
stay
that
up with
much
my
money.
friends, and that's what the industry kind of
Yeah.
pushes.
Yeah.
Then it's like you're trying to stick with the Joneses.
FOMO is a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unbelievable how powerful of a tool it is when people are buying these and spending this extra money thinking this is going to change my life and this is going to be so much better. Yeah. And it's so funny also hearing people saying, I want to buy a new bike, but I don't want to spend more than $1,000 or something like that. And I'm like going,
Not gonna happen, buddy.
eBay.
Well, just to touch on that, there's a guy who's works in construction. I see him all the time. He listens to the show. His name is Kevin, and I saw he had a motor pecan, an older motor pecan in the back of his truck when I was doing an inspection. And I was talking to him, and he was almost apologizing for the bike that he had. He goes,
Yeah.
"But I love it," and it's like that. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You're out on the bike. It doesn't matter if some guy shows up with 60 millimeter deep wheels.
Yeah.
Everything. 12 speed.
Well,
Hydraulic brakes. You enjoy the ride.
that's funny because that was one of my questions was going to be, do you care what other people think about your bike? Does anybody?
Look what I ride. I don't care what people think.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and sound annoying, but I know that when my bike comes by, a lot of people kind of watch it go by a little bit because I've been in crit situations where last year I was at the Everett Performance Omnium and everyone kind of heard the freewheel and was like watching as I went by, and that sounds so annoying coming from me, but I don't care. But
Don't be afraid of vanity. It's not a sin.
No,
Well,
I know. I don't care, but it's nice that everybody probably looks at that and goes, "Shit, he's probably fast."
Yeah.
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 I don't really care what other people think, but I do think it matters a lot with road in particular. To me, that's an emotional buy. It's not like when I'm buying any other bike, I'm trying to be very like, this is what I'm going to use it for. I'm a gravel bike. I'm only going to use it this many times a year on average versus my road bike. I don't care. I want to love that thing no matter what. So I want it to I just want it to be something that when I get excited to look at it and like ride the bike. And that's probably always going to be a road specific thing for me. But I mean, I think most people think time. They don't think much of time. Like unless you really know this
segment sponsored by.
Well, yeah, I mean, unless you know the bikes though, people don't really think much of time. If you know what they are, people
they don't carry the flash like Specialized.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, do you think the influence, because both these Wapo boys were sponsored,
Specialized.
well, and they were sponsored by Audi, which that team had a good deal on Specialized bikes. That's part of the reason why a company would specialize. You're a spokesperson. Not only that, you kind of drank the Kool-Aid. Do you think that had any influence on your decision?
With the mountain bike, potentially, because I looked at other very high-end ones, and I just, in my head, I always had looked at an Epic, and, back when I had a Specialized mountain bike, I kind of always wanted that. Well, definitely. I think there was a part of me that was like, within this brand, this is the bike to get, and I never got a chance to get it, so now is my chance, and I think having been sponsored previously by them made a huge difference there. But with road bikes, I was pretty stoked to try something different. And I don't
Speaking of the visual element, though, too, I will admit, and my father said it once when we were talking about cars. He says, "You want to drive a car that just when you're walking away from it in a parking lot, there's something inside of you that just wants to take a little look back.
Tells you to take a look back."
Yeah. I know it's vanity, and I know it's probably cheesy, and it's a total roadie thing, but that's not even a roadie thing. I know the mountain bikes and the gravel guys also stop and look back at their bikes. You want something that's kind of cool looking.
I do that.
I'm tired of my orange bike.
Well,
I can't afford it.
I think it's important to me to have like that love affair, like David was talking about. But I want to be the one that looks back.
Yeah.
I don't care if anybody else looks at it.
Yeah.
I really don't care. It's like when I went down to the storage room and my time's down there, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait. My heart went boom, 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 boom.
Whenever I feel like with the road bike in particular, I just feel like very connected to it in a way that when I ride it in a race or in like if you're going on gravel on your road bike and you're in these unfamiliar situations, like I feel like because I love that bike so much, I built it like from the ground up, and I put everything together. I'm like, okay, well, this is something I don't have to worry about. This is me and my bike. Like it's a different connection than I have with any other bike. And I think you almost have to. I don't know if you have to, because I've never really had a bike out of the box on the road. But to me, I think if you put it together, it makes you feel way more connected to it.
It does.
If you piece it together and you're like, I want these handlebars and this saddle and these pedals.
Yeah. Okay, so of the 4 categories I'm going to name you have to pick the 2 that you would prioritize first in a new bike. The 4 categories are comfort, strength, speed, and durability. What are your top 2? Whoever wants to go first.
Say the 4 again.
Comfort, strength, speed, and durability.
What is strength? Like it's not going to break?
Stiffness.
Stiffness. Okay, because stiffness or strength and durability kind of sound the same. Yeah, but stiffness. For sure, comfort and speed then.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're disposable in the end. Durability, as long as it doesn't break in the first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disposable. God damn that. Oh.
It's a tool. You're supposed to use it until it breaks and get a new one. Hopefully it's more than a year, but
yeah.
They all are now.
We probably won't see any S-Works from 2010 in 20 more years.
No, that's because everybody who rides them is a dentist and they quit the sport.
Well, not only that.
Sorry, there is a Specialized stereotype we could probably pay. No offense, David.
Well, hang on.
Your brother's worse because he's a Specialized roadie. Specialized roadies are all kind of just a little bit on the douchey side.
I'm a little bit better than you are.
He's got his head so far up their ass.
Yeah.
But you look at vintage bikes. People pull out an old Clonago from the 70s. We're not going to see that with carbon fiber frames. Yeah. They're just not. Well, they just break. Or with now the advancement with aerodynamics and stuff, you looked at starting to change a little bit, kind of went away, and it's starting to come back a little bit, and things ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Keep shifting. So, Paul, of comfort, strength, speed, and durability, did you pick? No.
No, I'd say comfort at my age is pretty important, and durability.
Yeah.
Speed at my age, nothing's going to really help.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if you really think about it, the bike's only 10%, so it's all 90% of your drag is on you. So.
Yeah. Jackson.
I am teetering. I know that speed is going to be one.
Yeah.
I'm teetering on the comfort or strength.
Okay.
I'm teetering between those two. Because I mean, if I'm really being honest, I probably have the stiffest bike you can probably get.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. And I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'll stick strength.
I'm comfort and strength also. Yeah, I've always wanted a super stiff bike. Because I grew up riding Vituses, and those are like basically al dente pasta. If you really were sprinting hard enough, you would flex the bottom bracket so hard that it would rub your derailleur, no matter how perfectly it was set.
Or shift.
Yeah, or shift. Yeah, and I mean, God, when I was younger, I could fuck up the lacing of my wheels on a time trial start. I could just go and just and pull spokes out and stuff like that. I used to be somebody. Now I'm just a hack. Now I'm just a hack. And so comfort, strength has always been on my mind. And that Giant is stiff as shit. It is like to the point of almost being, hi Karsten, somewhat uncomfortable, especially because of that seat post.
That's just stiffness.
Yeah, it's super stiff.
The time.
It's a good bike. It's a good bike. I like it. It's been a great bike. I mean, if I had it 6 years,
Yeah.
at least shit, it's time for a new one. Does warranty fit in there anywhere for any of you guys?
I mean, with like I really am becoming loyal to Reynolds because
Yeah.
it feels good to know that I can wreck a wheel. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
like,
They have lifetime, right?
yeah.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. My next wheels are going to be Reynolds,
Yeah.
and my next helmet is going to be a Cav because they have crash replacements.
That's
wow.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. If you guys look them up,
Mm-hmm.
I know we're sponsored by technically my Zero and Pock, but you order the helmet through an app. You take photos of your head. They send you a cap that you put on your head, and if there are any tight spots, you tell them what the tight spots are, and then they send you your helmet. And if there are any fit issues, they send you a new helmet, or they fix the helmet.
That's what EJ rides.
Yeah.
It's my next helmet. It is. I'm sorry to my sponsors, but
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk brands. We're going to close this out with Cycling News published an article last year listing the brands they trust. And this is a rapid fire, okay? I'd like to get your input. Yes or no? I'm going to name the brand. You say you trust them or no. We're going to destroy so many potential sponsors here.
Fuck yeah.
We are never going to get sponsored. Bianchi.
No.
Bianchi.
I just want to say no to the first one.
Bianchi, yes or no?
Oh,
yeah,
I've
sure.
Sure?
Paul.
No, I don't. I don't trust them
Bianchi.
at all.
I'm not a Bianchi.
I've had the original Bianchis, the steel ones out of Italy. Good. The rest
Yeah.
are trash. Now they're just
Yeah.
trash.
I've heard bad things about them
and
lately.
they break.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Cannondale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Again, my old experience,
No.
Cannondale, Cannon wheels.
The
I'm
old-
just
the
not
old-
a fan. Yeah.
We used to call them pregnant bikes because they're
Yeah.
so fat. I would ride a Cannondale. Canyon.
Yeah.
Meh.
Yeah.
I love
don't
my
know.
Canyon mountain bike. It's a great
Yeah.
bike. I'd ride a Canyon road bike.
Yeah.
Cervelo.
Yeah.
I used to like them.
Yeah.
I have a weird remembering of like only like triathletes riding them, so like kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah. It's a stigmatism.
Yeah. Screw Sam.
Colnago.
Yeah.
Man, am I just the only yes man here? Like,
Do
I
you
would.
trust
Yeah, sure.
Colnago?
Why not? I mean, it seemed
I
like great
trust
bikes.
Colnago. I would never buy one because
have
they're
to.
Yeah,
so
the price.
insanely
Yeah.
expensive. Yeah.
I
They're
had
just
one.
stupid expensive. Yeah. You hated it.
Yeah, I hated it. But
Yeah.
that was a steel one, and I'm sure they ride nice now. But I would trust them.
Yeah.
I would trust them.
We
Yeah.
will know in about 3 days if a certain person is listening to this. Giant bicycles.
I would trust them. If of all the bikes I sold, they had my back the whole way.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I've seen them warranty stuff like I thought nothing.
If Karsten's listening.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would trust him.
I would
Oh,
trust
yeah.
them. I just wouldn't buy one.
Yeah.
I'm just not a
That
fan.
wasn't
You know
the
what?
question.
And this is no bashing to my friend Karsten. It would have been one of the last brands of bikes I've ever bought.
Yeah.
But I have been on that thing for at least 6 years, and it has been rock solid. The only thing that hasn't been are my Shimano shifters. But everything else has been rock solid. It's been a really good frame. It is. I rode it through the Freda Fondo over the gravel, and it's a great bike. I'll go quickly. Pinarello, yay, no.
Yeah.
I'd trust him, but
Sure.
yeah.
Fuck Pinarello. Scott.
Yeah.
I would ride a Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking ride or trust?
Trust and or ride.
Yeah, I know people who've sold those bikes and trust them. And
They
like
seem
them,
pretty good.
So, yep.
Specialized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably would. I don't know.
Yeah, I would trust them.
I don't want one.
They're pretty good at backing their product.
Trek.
No. No.
I knew that was coming
one,
from Paul.
I know so many stories. The Trek just kind of blows people off. But
See,
that's just my opinion.
I would trust Trek. I had a Trek for 8 years, and I never changed a single thing on it, and it's still perfect.
Yeah. That thing has been through hell and back too.
Yeah.
Same as Giant.
Is it steel?
Yeah.
No. It's
No, it's aluminum.
Aluminum?
Yeah. What are some brands on that list that you would that were not on that list that you would call out, that you would trust and or
BMC.
use?
Yeah.
BMC.
Oh, wow. Took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Time's manufactured. Like
Time,
those
for sure.
Time's
frames
not on
are
there. Yeah.
some of the most beautiful and like highly manufactured frames.
I've never, and I've put together, I don't know how many bikes.
Yeah.
And that went together like butter. That was the easiest bike I ever put together. You can always tell by the quality when you put things together.
Yeah.
Bottom, even when you thread them in, now we press them in, or there's some threads. But the time, every finish was completely done.
I thought I was putting it together wrong because the
Everything went
clearances were
together.
so tight. I was like, that can't be right. You can't have that
Yeah.
little space between the rotor and the frame.
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's how it's supposed to be.
Wow.
Mhm.
I had a good experience with Lapierre.
Yeah,
I don't know if they are anymore, but that was quite a long time ago.
It's still
I had a good
alive, by
experience
the
with
way.
What? Yeah.
Mellow is.
Is it
Mhm.
the Shimano bike?
Shimano,
Yeah. Jack would be upset if I didn't mention Argon 18. I don't know the bikes, but Jack's bike is a pretty bike. He seems to be pretty happy
Been around
with it.
for a while.
Yeah, and the 3T.
Yeah.
I would probably be comfortable with 3T. You know,
No,
not you.
I don't
Not so
trust
much?
him.
No, not so much.
Some bad experiences in the past.
Yeah, I also have to say both Sam and I have had like little issues with like things that you wouldn't expect to happen from a bike you pulled out of the box.
Yeah.
That.
Mm-hmm.
You're not happy with it.
I mean, overall, I love the way the bike rides in races, but you have to like. I would probably make sure that you give it a once over every once in a while.
Oh, okay. All right. Shift gears towards our news. I don't have it sponsored by anyway, so it's sponsored by me.
Packfiller.
Yes, the Packfiller news. I know Paul's been waiting for this one. In the sprint finish of stage 2 of the Etoile de Bessage, Marc Brustenia from Equipo Current Pharma was sitting in 10th wheel with 100 meters to go when he inexplicably veered left, lost control of his bike, and crashed into the barriers. At first, it seemed as though the Spaniard had crossed wheels with Sam Bennett as he tried to pass the overhead shot. But the overhead shots told a different story. In the video from Eurosport, a small white cloud emanates from his rear wheel just as he leaned left to pass Bennett. The reason for this is that the tubeless tire had punctured with the white tubeless sealant inside exploding out for an instant, failing to seal whatever damage had been done to the tire. Images captured of the sprint show him in the background midway through the incident with the bike bouncing through the air, his rear tire ejected from the rim and instead entangled around the frame of the bike. And I know this is what Paul is going to say, but what can we take away from this in terms of the tubeless tires and the concept of it?
You look at me
Because I'm loaded.
Now, I will say that it was reported that the cause came from damage occurred earlier in the race. He hit a pothole or something like that, causing damage to the wheel. Now, do we say that then that is tubeless doing its job and sealing it and repairing the damage, or do we say that because if it was a clincher it would have blown, he would have changed wheels
and been fine? I don't know if you're going to agree or not, but I'm going to go back to the fact that I am still against tubeless, hookless tires.
Yes.
And because I've flatted on a tubeless tire, but I've always had hooked rims, and the tire at least stays on then, which, for this situation, like whether he flats from with a tube in there or he's tubeless, I think the bigger issue is the tire flies off and you have absolutely no traction. Your wheels sliding around on the pavement.
Yeah.
But I still think tubeless tire systems work with a hooked rim that keeps that tire steady. But we're seeing all the issues with the hookless rims in particular. This is a slightly different scenario because it sounds like he blew out, but then the tire just ejects.
Yeah.
Because it's hookless.
Yeah.
I was just about to buy a pair of wheels and I saw they were hookless and I said absolutely not.
Yeah.
So I will buy tubeless and run them tubeless with a hooked rim. So.
It reminds me of when we would flat a tubular.
Mm-hmm.
The tire was still there, and a clincher. I've never seen a clincher tire come off.
Nope.
Which it wouldn't with a hooked tubeless setup, right? Like
yeah.
it should stay on there like a hooked clincher or a tube tire would.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody knows, but I don't mean to be condescending, but a hooked rim is just simply has as it says, a hook at the tip of the rim which grips to the tire that holds it in place.
And it's more expensive to manufacture.
Yeah.
I think that is the big thing here. It's
Well,
lighter.
you're saving weight. With a hookless, you save weight. Yeah, the molds, there's only like two pieces. You have the outer and then inside the rim. So that with the hook, you have to have three pieces in the mold in the inside. So you form that hook and then you place that centerpiece in the middle. So that's part of it. But also it cuts the weight down, and that's, everybody wants, you don't want rotating weight. So
Yeah.
the idea of like cars, even motorcycles, they don't have hook. But we're dealing with such narrowness.
Yeah.
I think even hookless is fine. Like when you're running really wide tires, like if you were a gravel, I don't think there'd be a problem if your inner width of your inside of your rim was wide and you're running 47 Cs, 50 Cs. There's not going to be you're not going fast enough.
With
Yeah.
hook.
Here's hookless even. I think you're going to be fine. You're running such low pressure. There's not. The
You're
problem
not
is
running 90 psi.
yeah, and these guys are running down, even with the hookless. They're supposed to be running. I think they're, depending on your weight, like 55, 60 psi. So, but the problem is, like we were talking about, the roll off, because now you're endangering everybody. So, like you mentioned, like if you had a clincher wheel and you hit a pothole, you're going to pinch a tube, and so what tubeless does is what it seals, like you burp it a little bit and it seals up.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you get to a point where it's so low that if you put any pressure or rotating that tire underneath you in a corner, or you have to make a quick move, that thing's going to roll right off.
Yeah.
Because your pressure now is too low, and it comes right off. So that's a problem. The part that really irritates me is that there's no recourse for this. There's no punishment. In our days when we race strictly tubulars, if you rolled a tubular no matter what, you got suspended. You got a suspension and a fine, in the pros. So
because they said you glued it up wrong or
Yeah,
something.
Or you glued it on the day of or something like that.
There was a lot of idiots that did that. And I think that's fair play because you're endangering yourself and if you're looking at, like the UCI is looking at safety measures, this has to be addressed, I think. I've seen it time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even see in Paris-Roubaix last year.
Yeah.
Guy through the forest, it's just like you see that front tire and there's white crap all over the place and his front wheel just totally collapses. There is no protection on it.
Are we again in the situation where technology and sales are pushing the product out more than the pros want? Like for example, hey, this is our newest wheel set. This is, yes, it's hookless. It's blah, blah, blah. It's probably not as safe at your level of these guys doing these things to these bikes, but this is the newest technology, and this is how we keep insert brand name of wheels here. This is how we keep this bike and company in business. We have to innovate or die. We need dentists on these wheels. Push it. Go, go, go. We don't give a shit. Ride these fucking wheels.
It would be really interesting to see what pro riders in the peloton would prefer. Hookless. Toddy's going to smoke everybody no matter what. He's not going to make the difference. He'd probably rather not get a major crash from a hookless rim if it's more dangerous. But it'd be interesting.
I believe they ride an Envy and they're on a hookless
yeah
setup.
Well, I bet you probably the riders that aren't the bigger names probably are the ones that suffer the most. They don't get to choose their product. Rather, they like. I remember a couple of years ago, Tade was like, "I don't like Pirelli tires, so we're gonna get Continental tires."
That's what happened.
Like like people with names like that.
Really, they dropped Pirelli as a sponsor.
The next year.
Yeah, and so they like people like that get to choose what they want because they have so much power. But I feel like a tiny team or a tiny rider on like a team like Lotto Destiny, or something like that.
The Bianchi,
with
the broken handlebars,
with broken handlebars and hookless rims, pumped up to 71 psi. Those are the riders that I feel like are the ones that are really having to go through like the trials and tribulations of the new tech.
Yeah.
Well, and times have changed because they used to, the bike industry. This is how they sell product, and it has to be out there. Mm-hmm. And now with YouTube, they're being seen. So they're the ones that saves. So you got increase in salary. You wanted these good riders, and you're going to get a wheel company is going to give you free wheels.
Yeah.
Are you going to argue about what it is, or are you going to pay? So I think what happens in a lot, Shimano I think sponsors only like 3 teams, but you have to go 100%.
Yeah, shoes, helmets,
everything.
Yeah, everything.
Bar, stem, all their stuff, name brand, and everybody else has to purchase or a discount.
Yeah,
and so that's how they operate. That was pretty. You would see what we called Sharpie days. Yeah, like on races and stuff, and people would black out. Like if you liked a turbo saddle and you're sponsored by San Marco.
Yeah,
you would take out and scratch off the or black it out. Yeah, it said San Marco.
Or a lot of the 7-Eleven guys were on Seratos when it said Huffy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huffy sponsored it. They put their name on it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So like that. Speaking of Etoile de Passage, there was also some major controversy surrounding rider safety and course conditions. Massive exodus of teams, I think, after stage 2. After multiple incidents of cars on the roadway, some of which causing crashes. I guess it sucks, but I want to try and understand, is this truly in the hands of the race organizers trying to close some asshole who's late for cigarettes in his newspaper is going to pull out into traffic, pull out onto the road, whether you control it or not. I don't think you can get the amount of police coverage to cover every single intersection of a 150-mile course. And so I felt Etoile de Passage was one of the it's not over yet. Please, I hope it continues because it gives me something to watch this time of year. It is one of the kind of the last family organized major events, that hasn't been taken over by ASO, but it hasn't been taken over by all these major corporation conglomerate race production companies. And it would be a shame, in my personal opinion, that these incidents of a few dickheads would cause this. I mean, I don't know. Where do we place the blame on this type of situation with cars out on course?
It's so tough because I like hearing about all of this stuff that it's, family run or whatever the situation is there. Makes me feel bad, but at the same time, it's like if you are going to put together a World Tour race, you kind of expect World Tour quality. You know what I mean? Like, I guess when Lionel Messi steps onto the pitch, he doesn't expect to play on a shitty pitch in the middle of Spokane, Washington. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like that's being a little hard on Etoile de Passage, but I feel like if you are going to put together a professional race, I think putting the riders' safety probably should be at least top 5.
I just trying to figure out how they can do it to the amount of perfection. I mean, there is the concept of this rolling enclosure. That's what a bike race is in essence. It is just from the beginning, from the first rider to the last rider, that area is closed. And I it doesn't seem like it should be that difficult to happen. I do remember back in the day, my father and I were driving one of the lead cars of the Olympic cycling trials here in '84, and my dad, and he's driving and I'm in passenger seat, and this lady's coming out and she's on a gravel road, and she wants to get onto the road. My dad's telling her to stop. No. And she's screaming at us that she's late for work. And I remember my dad especially saying, you have to wait. It'll take 2 minutes. You have to wait. And she's freaking out at us, which at the time was not so common as it is now. And she's just losing her shit. And he said, you have to wait. And she flips us off. And then we go ahead. And sure enough, 15 seconds later, she pulls out into the road. And thank God we had police escorts, because the cop pulled her over right there. And I know she was probably losing her shit, but, she could have taken out Alexei Greywall, who won the Olympic gold a few months later. It's just, how do you completely control? You can't. I don't think it can be done. Even at the highest level, I don't think it can be done.
I think, one, you're looking at that race that you were mentioning, their budget's a lot lower.
Yeah.
So some of the precautions you can take in the Tour de France, or even one-day races like Ronde van Vlaanderen or Paris-Roubaix, those are already set. And when you promoted a race back in the day, we used to put flyers in the mailbox or on the door. You remember the race course and stuff, say, hey, from this point, please be cautious and blah, blah, blah. There's no way to control that.
Yeah.
And that is the nature of our sport. I'd be ashamed to take that away, because that's the uniqueness that it's going through. The whole idea of the Tour de France was to promote a newspaper, and not only that, tourism. Yeah. And that's what it is right now. So, but these smaller races, they just don't have the finances and the backing for, the talk about one cycling in a new format with a lot of money, so things trickle down. Maybe that's something that would, these lesser races get funding to help safe off, like,
these incidents.
These types and a little more police protection or whatever. So,
any of you guys ever had an incident like that in a race? Paul, you ever had
tractor?
One? Yeah.
Yeah, it was in
tractor.
It was coming our way. And if you know what a chisel is, it's they're like giant steel arrowheads.
Holy shit!
A farming implement on it, but anyway, and it was taken up. It was actually a Ronde van Palouse.
Oh
that we did it, but there was fair warning through talk radio. The official pulled up and said, "Everybody, we're neutralizing."
Yeah.
But this thing was coming down, big wheel tractor. And it was wider than a standard car. It was going into our lane. We single filed out.
I think I'm driving the wrong car. I drive a Mini, and one of the cars in a Tour de Passage was a Mini that drove straight towards the riders and was just and was backing out. And then on I'm on a social media group of Mini owners, and there was a guy the other day that just went off with this rant about how cyclists need to be run over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think I need to sell my car.
Just buy a Subaru. Nobody will ever complain about.
Worst case scenario, they'll think I have a lab and am a lesbian.
Yeah.
That's most Subaru drivers.
That's the Forester model.
Which is the worst model.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. All right, so we get to some segments tonight. Well, let's get to some segments tonight. I do have a segment sponsor. Segment sponsors tonight brought to you by our friends at the 24 Hours of Riverside. That's personal marketing. Please check out 24hoursofriverside.com. It is happening on the big long weekend, which is Memorial Day, right?
Memorial Day.
Yeah. First one's Memorial Day. And it's going to be a big one. It's a huge party. We're hoping for about 600 riders. We got food trucks. We got camping. And it is the most fun you can have with dirt in your teeth.
Agreed.
There we go. Oh, I'm on the loop. That's why I kept going. God, I was like, I hit the nail on that read. That was awesome. We're gonna go with Changing Times with the one and only Paul Main. And this one has been entitled. And when I saw the title of this, I was like, oh shit, I bet I'm gonna steal his thunder a little bit. But this one's called One Size Fits All.
Yeah, and we did.
Fuckers.
I don't know how. But more than anything else, I think what really I'll take it at one step in another direction. I guess I was thinking about it. And when Sam comes back, is the question I want to approach him.
Why many people? Such a dick?
That we all will never get an answer.
No, we never will.
Yeah, because he just keeps going.
He'll just pout.
Maybe we should talk to his mom a little bit. Maybe she can give us some insight. I don't know.
Doubt it.
Yeah.
She's learning the same thing.
Yeah. So, but the
I have a breastfeeding joke in my head, but I'm not going to say it.
What, that he still is?
No. Oh, no.
that's his problem. Sorry, Mama Wafels.
Mama Wafels, I did not say that.
I didn't either.
So is it Paul or
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
David said it.
Oh, okay.
He's jealous.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. I never
No
mind.
fair.
All right. So where are we at? Yeah. Ow.
Changing times.
Oh, yeah, we're back. So, my thought is, I think manufacturers have a tendency to, if you are serious about cycling and you're road racing, you need this group, this blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about that as a package deal, and you're trying to, stick with the, stay up with the Joneses. But I'm going to take another direction and something I want to ask Sam, too. There's a lot of people, when I worked at the bike shop a long time ago, and but they would come in, and their favorite thing was, I'm looking for a road bike. I'm not going to race or anything. I couldn't tell you how many times I heard people say, I'm not going to race or anything. It's like, well, what are you looking for? But and the design of road bikes that I saw in the last 5 years, because of the push for aero and everything else and the expense and everything, doesn't help the situation. The aero bikes, as a general rule, do ride stiffer and harder, and the people that have purchased them probably
You laughed, Jackson. You giggled. Stiffer and harder.
Just continue, for God's sake.
Have another beer.
You're becoming your father. I'm the one who's letting it go.
So the ride quality's not there. So they've been trying to design an endurance bike. Now, the majority of the people you see, if you've done a Gran Fondo, that want to do a good, the weekend warrior guy, they're pulling up on these race bikes that are not really designed for the purpose, but that's what is cool. And I think that's a shame that it's not really, in my opinion, really helping cycling. There's a lot of people, and I wanted to ask Sam, getting back to that, the guy that still seems to be nursing. So
you heard
allegedly.
it.
Oh, okay.
Allegedly.
We'll let him square that away. But how many people he fits, and he's like, man, they bought that bike usually because they said, hey, my buddy Paul Main races bikes. You should ask him. And you getting somebody, what are you going to do with, well, I'm going to do Gran Fondos, and I'm going to do, even on a gravel bike, there's even a variance of what you could get out of a gravel bike. So apparently, because Specialized has 6 models.
Yeah.
So that part of the education is unfortunate. I don't think the industry's really helping themselves by, no one wants to buy an endurance bike.
You wonder if
it's got a bad name. No one wants to
And it's that EFC factor, the extra fucking cool. Everybody wants the coolest thing, the next level, and so they're going to want to upgrade their bikes even though it's not the bike they should be on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just make that up?
EFC?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Wow.
No. I've been saying it for a long time. Maybe I made it up.
Back in the 80s.
In 1986.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is EFC.
EFC?
Yeah.
Is
You made it up.
Yeah.
I don't think I made it up. Somebody's going to say, no, I heard somebody say that. Yeah, exactly. So, no, I agree. And, although, race bikes aren't something, and you wonder if they're going into a shop, and the shop is just trying to sell the inventory.
Oh, absolutely. Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the unfortunate thing we don't have, other than if you can get a frame, you can still order a Specialized frame and piece it out. Then you're getting exactly what you want, as opposed to it comes with this one-piece cockpit and the stem's too long or the bars are too wide.
Yeah.
Or, then you spend $600 switching to keep that extra cool factor.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help the industry. So one size doesn't fit all, but that's what they do.
It can kind of go both ways as well. I had a friend recently trying to buy a bike for a very specific type of racing and went into a local bike shop, and they were really pushing this bike, and he came back to me and was like, what do you think of this? And I was like, what are they for? What? Why are they trying to sell you a gravel bike? That's not even at all what what
Really?
you're doing.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the cool factor they're trying to push. Maybe it's what they had in stock. I have no idea. But like they were definitely, I don't know, they weren't pushing the bike that was right for the person.
And in some cases, is that tendency to talk down to you.
Yeah.
And think they
the
can,
reason we all hate the local bike shop.
No,
We love it. We love it, but we hate it.
It depends on the shop, and it depends on the situation. Sometimes I've walked in, and there have been people just like, like I'll say, hey, I'm looking for tires for sealant. I'm working on my gravel bike. I need some sealant. Well, what kind? What are you going to ride? I'm like, just give me some stands and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I've been doing.
Don't make this harder.
That's been outdated.
Yeah, I was doing this sport when your idea of a good time was gnawing on a fudgesicle and watching cartoons. So shut the fuck up and give me the sealant.
Stands.
Yeah. It's tough.
Stands.
It's tough too because it's like when you walk into a local bike shop, like say with a racing bike like we've got, you have two types of people.
Yeah.
The people that are in there being like, I can't figure out what else I could possibly do. Can you please take a look at it?
Yeah.
And I've done
Yeah.
everything else possible. The knowledgeable kind.
Yeah.
And then there are the people that are like, bike don't good.
Or the JRAs. I broke the fork. I was just riding along.
Yeah, exactly.
Off of a loading dock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stupid people
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's like they just accommodate for the stupid people and
Yeah.
expect everybody to be that way. But
Yeah.
then you come in and they start talking to you like that and you're like,
Yeah.
screw you, man.
And I'm just like, do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I have a podcast.
Well, I think
You know how that would get laughed out of a shop? I have a podcast. Who the fuck doesn't?
You could
Yeah.
say you've been riding bikes longer than Sam's been breastfeeding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Still
but
going.
I think on the LBS thing, it's hard because you usually sell more than one brand. There's one brand that's like when I sold Specialized, it was easy. We couldn't keep them in stock. They did most of the marketing for you, and I also sold Giant, and it was. You do get your biases, and you try not to push that. And the hard thing is like, oh man,
Yeah.
and they're leading towards one. And you're like, this is a better one for you, but
Yeah.
and now you're at a crossroads. Are you going to lose the sale by redirecting them?
Yeah.
Because that's really what they wanted, and it ended up being
Or they like the color.
The color. That's
Yeah,
what
the
it
graphic,
is. That's
yeah.
the number one thing.
It was when I sold skis. It was that
Mhm.
way too. When I
Yeah.
sold downhill skis, it was just like I want that. That is a World Cup slalom ski. You were gonna fall on your ass. I want those skis. All right, ring them up.
Yep.
Enjoy, dumbass.
I'll see him at the ski exchange.
swap.
Yes.
Yeah,
Next
yeah.
year.
Or in the
next year.
emergency room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get to the cool down with Jackson Bolger. I always love these because you always pose some sort of a question, and I'm like, oh.
Well, here it is again.
Okay.
So, we have a certain holiday on Friday, which it's on Friday. That's crazy.
It is.
And it's called Valentine's Day for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about. I know. No. First off, I'll answer my own question. It's going to be, do you celebrate it?
You took my final question, my final K.
Well, that's crazy. Play the outro. But because I do. I heavily celebrate. I heavily celebrate St. Patrick's Day, except screw Groundhog's Day. I want to put Punxsutawney Phil in a ball and punt that little shithead.
Phil, yeah. Who gave that guy his fucking
Who gave him the authority to be an
degree?
idiot?
Yeah. Meteorology.
Yeah.
Eat shit, you rat.
I love the energy on that. Anyways, I do. I really like it. It's not that, and I feel like it also kind of gets a bad rap in terms of like, oh, I'm not like expressing any sort of love and affection towards my significant other throughout the entire year. So today's one day, I might as well do it today. That's not how I am. I just like to I like to celebrate, and I also love. I always say that. So like any little romantic trope in any sort of story, I just get a kick out of. So yes, I do celebrate it. Do you guys celebrate it? Paul, do you celebrate it?
Yes.
My first question is going to be like, how long you been married?
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
Right, 30 years.
Well,
asshole.
exactly. So, fancy enough as that question is, that is when I proposed to my wife. Was on that date.
Yeah.
Not to be cheesy, but I had to. After my practice marriage, I had some expenses to pay off, and as soon as I was able to pay off all my debts, and I was flush, I was going to ask her on Valentine's Day. Well, I wasn't on Valentine's Day. I said the next day, whatever, if it was going to be in January or whatever. And the last payment was on the 13th. We already had a dinner planned at a restaurant here in Spokane called Luna.
Oh, yeah.
That's our special spot.
Good area. I like it.
And I proposed to her, and she didn't answer.
Really?
Well, I said, I couldn't afford the ring.
Overcome with emotion?
Well, basically, that's what it was.
Okay.
What it was is I couldn't afford the ring, so the kids had pipe cleaners, and so I made a pipe cleaner diamond ring. And I had
my God!
My old ring box from my practice marriage, and I put it in there, and then I said, will you marry me? And she goes, oh my gosh! And she leaned forward and dipped about 3 inches of her hair into the coffee. Oh! And then she had to wring it out, and it was quite a memorable moment.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, afterwards. Yeah. Yeah.
You never have an after dinner espresso?
Yes,
I
coffee.
do when we know what kind of night it's gonna be.
Well, it is Valentine's Day, and I just proposed to her. I was hoping.
You caffeine up before sex? Is that what you said, David?
It's a long night,
A long night.
Good for you, buddy.
Legend.
Good for you.
Legend.
Dilate those blood vessels.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay awake. It's like 48 seconds.
I didn't really expect this question to go there, but
first time.
I love that you're
What? You're a god. First time. Wow. That's like 2 months.
48 seconds every 2 months. Okay.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Do we celebrate Valentine's
Day?
Day?
Yeah,
with coffee.
Well, apparently you do.
10 o'clock, we have a cup of coffee.
Instead of rose petals path leading through the house, it's coffee grinds.
Yeah.
Coffee grinds, yes, to the Nespresso, and then the rest of the night. So, I think I don't remember what we did last year, but this year
coffee.
We had coffee, and then but this year we'll be having some coffee, and then we'll drive to. We're going to be on the road, so it's definitely not. It's not something I would shy against. If we were doing nothing Friday night, it probably wouldn't involve going out. That's the difference, I think, between where I'm at now in life and where I was in younger days. We'd probably just do something fun at home together, versus going out, because I feel like it's a terrible night to go out to eat.
It is on a Friday. Are you going out, Jay?
Yeah, we got actually a reservation to a place where apparently celebrities go.
Whoa!
Yeah. Where's this?
Sorella.
Nice.
This is the first time we're not going out because I'm going to rain on this parade. It's my father-in-law's last memorial little service on that day. He would have been 95 on that day.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I just thought I'd bring it down.
Yeah, there we go.
I was going to bury it, but I thought no, it's too much joy. I think I'll just bring it back.
Did he just
down a little bit?
Did he just pass?
He died in November.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So there wasn't a big ceremony, but the people in their retirement center wanted to celebrate him. So they're doing it on his 95th.
Jackson, it's almost like you were taking a playbook from your father. It's like I'm not a huge believer in Valentine's Day.
I know.
I have always felt that Valentine's Day, and this is just my opinion, was a day for guys who were complete douchebags to their wives all year round to suddenly buy roses and be a wonderful person.
Cynical.
Let me finish. For the first 10 years of my married life, I bought my wife flowers on the 21st of every month.
Because you treat her like shit?
No.
Oh, I just had to clarify that.
Why the 21st?
Because we were married on the 21st.
That's nice. Yeah.
They treat her like shit. Here.
Just make up for it.
The good day of the month.
What a crazy
I guess you're supposed to put them in water or we'll die.
Go make me French dip. I don't know why French dip I'm doing away with. No, and so I always felt it was cool to be romantic all the time, and not necessarily solidify it to one day a year. That being said, it was funny because my wife actually said to me, you know what, do you want to go out on Valentine's Day this year? And I said, I guess I could be up for that. What day is it? She said Friday. And I went, oh shit, no. And she went, good, because I couldn't get a reservation anywhere anyway. So I think we're going to go out sometime this weekend, and just the two of us. Every time, I will admit, I don't like going out a whole lot because I'm a grumpy dick. And And there are times that I'm just like going, it's so much, I like cooking, and it's so much nicer to have a nice romantic dinner here, and everything costs less.
With the dogs panting on you.
Yeah. Well, just her. They like her. They don't really give a shit about me. But then the times we do go out, I'm like, shit, we should do this more often.
Yeah.
And so battling with those two parts of me is always a struggle. But I will, I don't know if I will get her flowers, stuff like that. I don't know if anything beyond there.
I think I share a somewhat similar...
Probably coffee-free evening.
Coffee, oh, that's a shame. I feel like I share a somewhat similar, overall negative taste of Valentine's Day. And I think it stems from, previous relationships where I felt like I was doing romantic gestures all the time.
Yeah.
And then Valentine's Day would roll around. I was like, what? I don't know what more I can do, man.
Yeah.
I can't take it up a notch from what I do on a daily or weekly basis. This is insane. I'm already trying every single day, and you want me to do something because the person, this particular person I'm thinking of was really into the idea of a big Valentine's Day. I was like, I'm already doing so much.
Yeah.
I can't go another step above on trying to take care of this relationship and the romantic gestures.
There are so many bullshit greeting card holidays, though. You got to admit. I mean, Mother's Day and Father's Day, give me a break. Come on. Really?
Where the hell's Sun's Day? Come on, shit.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Yeah, there will be. I bet there will be
Yeah.
someday. It'll be just
It's the Gulf of America.
Yeah. Oh,
Let's give them a whole month.
Go there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's son,
Yeah.
whole month,
Son
daughter,
month, yeah.
whole month.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jackson.
Yeah.
Now I'm in trouble.
Anytime.
Now I got to plan something in the next 2 or 3 nights.
That's
So
what the plan was.
It's true.
okay.
Question is, do you celebrate Valentine's Day?
I think so. Yeah, there was. What are your thoughts on Valentine's Day? Plans? Why or why not? That was my. Yeah, it's on big, huge font there.
Yeah.
You saw it and you stole it. You didn't. You
Exactly.
came unprepared.
That's
Wow.
Sounds like
Yeah.
you came on.
I did.
There's not 2 questions? Come on.
Yeah. No,
Backup
there aren't.
question?
Actually, my other one was you ready for this?
Yep.
My other one was rain riding. Does it happen to you anymore, or do you just train inside? What's your thoughts on riding in the rain? Jackson.
You live in Portland for 4 years and you never do it again.
You don't.
Nope.
Paul?
Has to be 50 degrees or up.
Then you're not going to ride in the rain.
I'll ride in the rain if
it's above
50 and
50.
above. Yeah.
David?
I think 70 and above, and I will end in the rain. I will not start.
I won't start in the rain either. I won't do that anymore. Not with trainer and technology and things like that. There we go. See, I had another one.
Nice.
Deal with that one, buddy.
Nice.
Everybody, be sure to like and subscribe to the show. Do that. Do a favor on that, and be sure and our YouTube channel. Throw us subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as pop us a review every now and then. That'd be wonderful. Thanks, guys, so much. And be sure to check out Packfiller.com. We got shit for sale. Guys, thanks for being here. It's been a long time. 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Screw Sam.
Yeah.
Screw Sam.